was singing in the shower one day when he realized it, his voice coming from two places at once. It wasn't an echo. No one else was in the bathroom with him. He stepped out of the shower, towel drying himself, and the voice followed him. It was then that he knew something was terribly wrong. It was about 11 a.m. on a Saturday when Thomas had the weirdest thing happen to him. He had just gotten done washing his hair and face when he turned the water off. That's when he heard his own voice in the shower stall next to him. He stopped and froze, listening intently. The voice started again, and this time he could make out the words, "I love her so much." Then the voice stopped as abruptly as it started. Thomas stood there for a moment, thinking he'd imagined the whole thing. But then he heard the voice again. This time, it was singing the chorus of one of his favorite songs. It was his voice, but how? Was someone messing with him? Was there someone else in the bathroom? He peered around the corner and into the adjoining shower stall, but no one was there. Was he losing his mind? Had he been in the shower too long and gotten a little delirious? He shook his head, chuckling at himself. It had to be the most ridiculous thing he'd ever experienced. He stepped out of the shower and reached for the towel hanging on the rack. And that's when he heard the voice again. It sounded like it was coming from inside his head. He dropped the towel and backed away from the shower. It couldn't possibly be. But what if it was? What if his mind was playing tricks on him because of stress or maybe sleep deprivation? Maybe he needed to take a break from work and see a doctor. Could it be some kind of early onset dementia? How old was he again? He was only 34. Surely it wasn't dementia. But what else could it be? He decided to get out of the bathroom and go to his bedroom to lie down for a bit before heading to his office. As he walked out of the bathroom, he could still hear the voice. It was following him. He stopped in his tracks and turned around. The voice was coming from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. He went back to the shower and looked in the adjoining stall again. There was no one there. He could hear the voice now clearly and distinctly. It was humming the tune he'd been whistling earlier in the week. What was going on? Why couldn't he see anyone? Where was the voice coming from? Was he having a stroke? Should he call 911? The thoughts raced through his head like a runaway train. Suddenly, another thought struck him. His wife, Anna, was in the hospital giving birth to their baby girl. Their son, Thomas Jr., or Tommy, as they called him, was staying with his grandmother for the week. So it was just him in the house. There was no one else who could have possibly been in the shower. He pulled out his cell phone and dialed Anna's number. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey, honey," she said. Her voice was weak but happy. "How's everything going?" he asked. "Oh, great. We're expecting the baby any minute now," she replied. "That's wonderful news," he said. "Can you talk?" "Yeah, everything's fine," she said. "Good. Well, listen, I have to go. I think they're getting ready to bring her in," she said. "Okay. Well, I'll see you later," he said. "Yeah, later," she said. And then she hung up. He stared at his phone as the realization dawned on him. Was she the voice? But how? If she was in the hospital, then why was her voice echoing in his back? He rushed to his car and drove to the hospital. He parked in the visitor parking lot and ran into the hospital. He found the nursery and stopped in the doorway. There were 3 bassinets in the room, but all of them were empty. One of the nurses noticed him standing in the doorway and asked, "Can I help you?" "Where's my baby?" he asked. The nurse checked the computer in front of her. "You mean your daughter?" "Yeah," he said. "She hasn't been born yet. Your wife is in labor right now," the nurse said. "Oh, okay, sorry to bother you," he said. He left the nursery and headed back to his car. He sat in the driver's seat for a few moments, trying to figure out where the voice was coming from. It was faint now, but he could still hear it. He got out of his car and went to the trunk. He opened it and saw his guitar case. He pulled it out and opened it. He took the guitar out and brought it with him as he went back to the hospital. The nurse at the front desk stopped him again. "Can I help you?" "Yes." "Ah, where's the chapel?" "Down the hall and to the right. 3rd door on the right," she said. "Thanks," he said. He walked down the hall and found the chapel. He pushed open the door and stepped inside. He didn't see anyone, but as he looked around, he noticed the guitar on a stand in the corner. He walked over to it and picked it up. He strummed a chord, and the sound echoed in the vast emptiness of the chapel. That's when he heard her voice again. I love you so much. It was coming from the guitar. Or was it? He closed his eyes and listened intently. It was his guitar. The sound of his voice was being amplified by the wooden frame and resonating through the body of the guitar. But how could his guitar be in the bathroom at home and here in the hospital chapel? He looked at the guitar in his hands and then at the empty chapel. He had an eerie feeling that he was not alone. Someone or something was with him, watching him. He slowly began to play the guitar. The sound of his own voice filled the chapel. I love you so much, he sang. And as he sang, he felt a sense of peace come over him. He was unsure if it was the music or the fact that he was finally alone in his thoughts. But as he played on, he felt the anxiety lift and the fear recede. He didn't know how long he'd been in the chapel, but eventually he stopped playing. He set the guitar down on the stand and walked out of the chapel. He drove home slowly, lost in thought. When he got home, he went straight to the bathroom to check the shower again. It was empty. He could still hear the voice faintly, but now it was his own voice. He was the one making the sound, but how could he have been in two places at once? He still didn't have an answer, but he no longer needed one. He could feel his voice coming from his heart, from his soul, and that was enough for him. He went to his bedroom and lay down on the bed. He closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep. He dreamed of his wife and children. He dreamed of love and happiness. And in his dream, he heard the voice again. I love you so much. And he just knew that everything would be all right. When he woke up the next morning, the sun was shining in through the window. He could hear birds chirping outside, and he could feel the love of his family surrounding him. He got out of bed and went to the bathroom to check the shower again. It was empty. He could still hear the voice faintly, but now it was his own voice. He was the one making a sound. But how? How could he have been in two places at once? He still didn't have an answer, but he no longer needed one. He could feel his voice coming from his heart, from his soul, and that was enough for him. He went to his bedroom and lay down on the bed. He closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep. He dreamed of his wife and children. He dreamed of love and happiness. And in his dream, he heard the voice again. I love you so much. And he just knew that everything would be all right. Now, after hearing this man's story, please tell us in the comments, what do you think happened to him? And if you want to hear more interesting stories, stay tuned.